So I was, there've been a lot of spiders around my room, and I looked it up, and I guess spiders are symbolic as like a spirit guide or a spirit animal for promoting creativity and pushing you to figure out your destiny and your fate and stuff like that. And what you're working on now is like gonna drive your fate. So hopefully that's a good sign, because one of them crawled on my face and they're all next to my bed. So if they could not, this better be worth it. Hey guys, what's up? That was too cheerful. Sup, losers. So for this week, I did more. I documented some more of like while I was doing it, which is good. Bad news, it ended up being really emo. So that happens. It's all good. Yeah. So it's kind of depressing, but it's keeping it real. You know what I mean? I think I just shook the camera. And that's what this is all about. So, that's all I got for you right now. I'm kind of done doing this now, so I'm gonna give you the rest of the vlog. Have a nice day. So I was script writing, and apparently that can what's the word? Bring up, I guess, repressed memories, even if those memories are like dreams or like something, just like stuff that made you feel shitty that you chose to keep in the vault. And so that's weird. That's a weird experience to get. I don't know if that's like some type of meditation shit. But I didn't like that. Okay, speaking of scripts, to be less depressing now, this on this side is the script for a Dark Horse sample, and this one is mine, so obviously there are some major differences. First up here I have a lot of notes, some characters, and then I highlighted a lot to show what it is. So the yellow highlights are what the panel action and camera angle is and what's happening in the panel, and the black highlights are the setting, blue is the page number, and then green over here is stuff that I need to remember to bring up later. And then everything that's not highlighted is just dialogue. And so over here on this side, we can see that they have, sorry I'm moving a lot, I don't want you guys to look at it here. Let me put it up here. On page 2, because you guys saw me do that one. Or you're gonna see it, I guess, it's coming up. So over here, they have very different approach to it. There is a lot of direction in the panel description, and the captions are very obvious and stuff like that. And so it's just a lot more directed towards a team aspect, because they have a bunch of different people working on different parts. So they kind of need one director to give them the whole thing. For me though, this kind of thing is just, this is all mine. And so I kind of know what I want it to look like. And yeah, so that's it. There is a full 22 pages, and I'm really excited to get started on it. So speaking of that, let's go to it. Also, if you want to download this, just a reminder, if you want to download any sample scripts, you can usually find them on big company websites like Dark Horse or any other thing. As long as it's not an indie website, usually they don't give you anything to work off of because you don't have to give them anything anything like that, because the point of this, I guess the point of the sample script is so that you can show them what you can do. And when you're working with an indie publisher, you do everything, so they don't really care what individual aspect you can do. They just want your whole thing so they can publish it. And yeah, so let's move on to the next thing, because this is done. Yes! Hey guys, so we just looked at the script, and it was mostly, I think we mostly just looked at the Dark Horse sample script. That was just so you guys didn't end up reading the whole thing, which, you know, makes sense, because I kind of want you to be excited for this. But yeah, so this is post-script writing, just kind of gotta dive into doing the comic, which is intimidating. I did this yesterday, so yesterday I did this for about an hour and was able to complete 3 pages, and by complete I mean very loosely. I just kind of drew them out and what they would look like. I didn't finish it by any means. I think it would be awesome to finish 3 pages completely in an hour, but since this is my first time working with poses and creating a story through image, with consecutive images, it's a bit of a challenge. Whoops. And yeah, that face is really small, but this is just blocking it out. So for this scene, I ended up, the thing in my left hand is the setting, and that was originally, I was just going to use that as a background, and then I realized that was not dynamic enough. You know, you can't just go with 2 panels and be like, I'll just throw my characters on top of it because that makes sense. Because it doesn't make sense. It just does not, so we're not doing that. I might use it for 1 panel, but other than that, there's just so many different camera angles, which is another thing. Like, oh, I'm just looking at the panels, by the way, I'm not copying anything. Yeah, figuring out how the camera angles are gonna work and what kind of perspective you have to draw is difficult. I'm someone who already hates perspective drawing very much. I try to avoid it as much as possible, which is why a lot of my images end up looking very flat, but it just saves time to not have to think about it. So I spent about 10 minutes on this first panel trying to figure out how to make that look correct. It still doesn't look right, but I wanted to bust out the rest of it, so I was like, whatever, it's close enough. I'll figure it out later. And this is mostly just so I can try to see how I really want it laid out. So this is just what I had in my head, and if there's anything I ended up not liking, which I ended up being pretty okay with all of it, I would go back, redraw that, and then after that, I'm going to take some reference pictures and actually go off of those so that I can get a way tighter image and it actually looks like it makes sense. Because, yeah, the perspective in a lot of these just does not look right. But it's okay. It's close enough. I'm honestly pretty proud of myself. I didn't expect to do as well as I did. But that's not saying a whole lot, because I really didn't expect much from myself, which is probably not good, but it's okay. Yeah, but it was really cool because I have had these images since I've started writing the script in my head, so to be able to, like, jot them down is a really fun thing, because then it starts to come to life, as any artist or person who has ever worked on a project knows. When you finally get it realized, it's a really cool feeling. And so I'm sure once I have, like, actually done this and inked it out, it's gonna be so cool. Like, it's gonna be so cool, you guys. In my mind, I don't know if anyone else will care, but if you did, that would be super. I've also, okay, so going on a different topic, once I finish it, I've been looking into how to print it, because I do want to do kind of a giveaway thing just to get it some advertisement, I guess, some publicity throughout the people, as you will. And I've been looking into a printer, and thinking about doing it myself, because you can print them at another place, but it's like $25 to get one book printed, and that sounds pretty ridiculous for super thin paper. That's probably gonna be black and white, you know? So that'll be something to look into. I've started a sorry about this, but I started a crowdfunding page, which would help me purchase a printer and the paper for that, and possibly a light box, or at least a cord for my light box that I have right now. It's not really a light box, it's more of like a light tablet, but those things would just help with this. I will put a link in the description, but that's more of just a side note. That's not really me trying to beg for your money. But if you really feel like being generous, you know, go for it. But yeah, so I've just been looking into a lot of different things, ways to print, ways to advertise, and I finalized one of the characters. That's why I started drawing. I finalized her costume, or outfit, I guess, and so I just got to it. That's about it. My camera killed itself in the next 30 seconds, I believe, so you don't get to see this whole page. It's done, so it's all good. Working on my website a little bit, trying to make that less crappy. It just kind of sucks because I do all this work and then I feel like no matter how much of it I do, it's getting me nowhere. And it's kind of a sucky feeling. I don't know. I just hope this turns out well.